Imagine a land where winter dominates the year, where snow and frost shape both life and memory. Now imagine that same land, suddenly transformed into a furnace. Forests that once breathed life now exhaled smoke. Skies that once stretched blue over Moscow turned into a choking veil of ash. In the summer of 2010, Russia faced one of the deadliest natural disasters in its modern history. What began as an unusually hot June spiraled into an inferno that would leave 56,000 people dead, entire villages erased, and a nation gasping for air. This is the story of the Russian heatwave and wildfires of 2010, a tragedy written in flames and suffocation. June arrived warmer than usual. Russians, used to enduring long, brutal winters, welcomed the sunshine at first. Parks filled, riverside picnics flourished, and children splashed in fountains. But beneath the joy lay a warning sign. Temperatures refused to fall. Day after day, the heat intensified. By early July, Moscow sweltered at 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, a figure unheard of in a city built for cold. Air conditioners sold out. Elderly residents fainted in overheated apartments. Hospitals began filling with cases of dehydration, heat stroke, and heart failure. But worse was yet to come. The forests surrounding Moscow, dense with pine, birch, and peat bogs, had dried into tinderboxes. A single spark was enough. Some fires were natural, others ignited by careless human hands. But once lit, they spread with terrifying speed. Flames leapt across villages. Entire wooden houses exploded into embers within minutes. Farmers abandoned their fields, watching helplessly as crops burned into blackened soil. By mid-July, hundreds of wildfires raged simultaneously across western Russia, many too large to control. Firefighters battled exhaustion, often armed with nothing but shovels and buckets. The blazes were relentless. As the forest burned, winds carried the smoke into Russia's beating heart, Moscow. The city of nearly 12 million people was blanketed in a suffocating haze. Streets disappeared into a gray fog. Sunlight dimmed to an eerie orange glow as though the apocalypse had arrived. The air grew toxic. Levels of carbon monoxide were reported at double the safe limit. Residents wore masks, but many said the smoke seeped through fabric and into their lungs anyway. Inside apartments, the smell of burning wood clung to every surface. Hospitals overflowed. Mortality rates spiked by thousands each week. For many elderly and chronically ill, the heat and pollution proved a deadly combination. Official numbers would later state 56,000 excess deaths during that summer, most caused by heat and suffocation. Funeral homes could not keep up. Morgues overflowed. Families dug graves in sweltering heat, while wildfires raged only kilometers away. In villages, survivors recalled watching neighbors collapse while trying to protect their homes. Some perished in their sleep, unable to breathe in the smoky night. The government declared states of emergency across dozens of regions, but even military deployment struggled against the scale of destruction. Beyond human tragedy, nature itself bore deep scars. Russia's peat bogs, dried out after decades of drainage for agriculture, smoldered underground for weeks. These fires were almost impossible to extinguish, burning beneath the soil, releasing toxic gases that worsened the haze. Forests spanning millions of hectares were reduced to ash. Rare wildlife vanished. Agricultural losses mounted to billions of dollars, threatening food supplies. The fires also struck dangerously close to critical infrastructure. At one point, flames encroached upon nuclear facilities and military bases. Entire arsenals were evacuated, fearing explosions. Survivors would later recount the silence after the flames, how the countryside felt haunted. One villager described the moment the fire reached his home. The sky was black, the heat was unbearable. The fire came so fast there was no time to save anything. Only my family. Everything else turned to ash in minutes. In Moscow, residents recalled sleeping with wet towels over their faces, struggling to inhale.
It felt like drowning on land, one survivor said.
The world watched in horror as images of a burning Russia spread across international news. Air traffic over Moscow halted. Foreign embassies advised evacuation. Humanitarian aid poured in from Europe and beyond. But the scale of suffering was overwhelming. Russia, a nation used to harsh winters, was utterly unprepared for this kind of disaster. By late August, cooler rains finally arrived, helping to extinguish the last of the blazes. But the damage had already been done. The Russian heatwave of 2010 entered history as the deadliest heatwave ever recorded in Russia, and one of the deadliest worldwide. Beyond the staggering death toll, it reshaped policy and awareness. Authorities vowed to better manage peatlands, modernize firefighting resources, and prepare for extreme weather. But the disaster also left a haunting question. Was this just nature's fury, or a glimpse of a future shaped by climate change? The summer of 2010 is remembered in Russia as a season of fire and smoke, a season where the air itself became deadly, a season that exposed how fragile even great nations are against the forces of nature. For survivors, the memory lingers. The suffocating haze, the red horizon, the silence after the flames. For the world, it was a grim reminder. As the planet warms, disasters once unthinkable may become tomorrow's reality. Subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.